Before the sun touches the waves, before the boardwalk awakens, Virginia Beach whispers a different story. Not the postcard perfect family getaway you think you know, but a shoreline shaped by 400 years of storms, survival, and secrets. Here, the first colonists battled hunger and hope. Ships vanished beneath these waters, leaving behind legends that still echo at dusk. Hidden beneath the sand are traces of war, whispers of explorers, and rare ecosystems that have outlived empires. This isn't just a beach. This is a gateway into a forgotten world. Welcome to the mystical history of Virginia Beach. Most travelers arrive in Virginia Beach expecting sun, sand, and a carefree family vacation. But beneath the laughter of children and the rhythm of rolling waves lies a far older heartbeat, one shaped by explorers, indigenous tribes, storm-battered settlements, and the quiet guardians of nature who fought to protect this coast. Long before it became America's largest pleasure beach, this shoreline was the meeting ground of cultures. The Chesapeakean people once fished these waters, reading the tides like ancient scripture. Centuries later, European explorers would step into the same sand, unsure of what waited beyond the tree line. Storms carved the land, generations rebuilt, survivors learned to trust the sea even as they feared its power. And as time passed, families came, not for conquest, but for connection. They built traditions in the glow of bonfires, taught their children to face the waves, and turned this coastline into a place where memories settle deeper than footprints. Hidden beyond the boardwalk and the souvenir shops are untold stories, quiet marshes that have protected wildlife longer than any city has stood, secret trails where the past still lingers in the wind, and pockets of culture shaped not by tourism, but by the people who call this coastline home. Virginia Beach isn't just a destination. It's a layered world, wrapped in history, myth, and miracle, waiting for those who know how to listen. Centuries before Virginia Beach became a place of neon lights and summer laughter, these shores witnessed one of the most fragile moments in American history. In 1607, after months lost at sea, the first English settlers did not arrive at Jamestown first. They landed here, on this very edge of the continent, a place we now call First Landing. Imagine it. Exhausted colonists stepping onto the sand, staring into a wilderness that seemed endless. The wind carried no welcome. The forest loomed like a wall. Yet this coastline, shaped by shifting dunes, freshwater inlets, and the endless pulse of the Atlantic, offered something they desperately needed: a chance to survive. The geography of early Virginia Beach became both protector and challenger. The calm waters of the Chesapeake Bay sheltered their ships, while the ocean's open expanse served as a highway to distant lands. Trade routes were born from these tides, connecting England, the Caribbean, and the colonies. And because of this meeting of waters, small coastal settlements grew differently from the inland towns of Virginia. Here, life depended on the sea, its moods, its storms, its gifts. Villages formed along creeks and inlets, where fishermen read the currents like maps and farmers learned to live with salt-kissed soil. While inland towns leaned on tobacco and plantations, the coastal communities of early Virginia blossomed through boats, barter, and the bravery to face the unknown. The legacy of that first landing still breathes through modern Virginia Beach. Every boardwalk, every neighborhood, every quiet marsh trail carries the imprint of those who first dared to call this coast home. Their struggle, their hope, and their resilience shaped the rhythm of today's beach towns, long before the world knew this place as a vacation paradise. Walk the Virginia Beach boardwalk on any summer afternoon, and you'll see families pedaling bright-colored bikes, rollerbladers weaving between laughter, and children chasing the scent of fresh ice cream cones. But beneath this joyful rhythm lies a coastline layered with secrets, stories far older than any souvenir shop or neon sign. Just beyond the sound of oceanfront music stands a guardian of the past, the Cape Henry Lighthouse, America's first federally funded lighthouse. Its bricks have watched centuries of storms, battles, and shipwrecks. Sailors once prayed for its beacon, knowing that one wrong turn in these restless waters could pull them into the graveyard of the Atlantic. Some ships never escaped, their stories swallowed by the sea but whispered by locals even today. Follow the shore a little farther, and you enter a realm once haunted by pirates. Yes, pirates. These quiet waters were part of routes used by privateers and outlaws slipping into the Chesapeake Bay, their sails black against the moonlight, their names lost to history but their legends alive in the wind. And then there is the Lynnhaven River, gentle and unassuming, yet once the lifeblood of early Virginia commerce. From its banks came the famous Lynnhaven oysters, prized across the world for their sweetness and size. Ships from Europe and the Caribbean traveled here not for spices or gold, but for oysters harvested by generations who lived with the rhythm of the tides. Even the boardwalk memorials, too often passed without a glance, mark the paths of soldiers, aviators, and explorers whose courage shaped this city's soul. The monuments are not just metal and stone, they are stories cast in bronze, waiting for someone to pause long enough to hear them. So the next time you wander the boardwalk, remember, beneath the music and the beachfront glow lies a hidden world of shipwrecks, pirate shadows, and a river that fed nations. This is a beach built on legends, quiet, powerful, and unforgettable. Step away from the shoreline for a moment, and you'll discover that Virginia Beach's true magic isn't just in the waves. It lives in the people who have shaped this coast for generations. This is a place where traditions aren't written in books. They're passed down at kitchen tables, carried in salt-sprayed memories, and celebrated beneath the open sky. In the rural stretches of Pungo, families wake with the sunrise to pick strawberries from fields their grandparents once tended. Parents teach children how to taste a berry still warm from the sun, a sweetness that has marked the start of summer here for decades. Closer to the ocean, the smell of fresh seafood drifts from family-run shacks and diners, places where the recipes are older than the buildings themselves. Here, locals gather after long days of work, sharing stories over fried flounder, hush puppies, and oysters pulled from the same waters their ancestors once harvested. Every meal feels like a tribute to the sea that feeds them. Surfing schools become classrooms of life, where instructors, some who have surfed these waves since childhood, show new generations how to dance with the ocean. And on the piers, fishermen pass down their quiet rituals, tying knots the way their fathers taught them, reading the wind, recognizing the subtle shift in the tide that tells them when the fish are coming in. Then there are the festivals, huge, joyful celebrations that fill the city with music, art, and tradition. The Neptune Festival, especially, transforms the beach into a living storybook. Sculptors carve entire worlds from sand, children race down the boardwalk with painted faces, and families who have lived here for decades come to honor the spirit of their city's guardian king. This is the heartbeat of Virginia Beach, a coastal hometown wrapped in history and warmed by community. A place where family traditions glow as brightly as the summer sun and where visitors, even if only for a moment, feel like they're part of something timeless. Long before Virginia Beach dazzled travelers with its glowing hotels and bustling oceanfront, this coast was a quiet realm of fishermen, salt marshes, and wind-swept dunes. But as the 20th century unfolded, the world began turning its gaze toward these shores, and the transformation that followed would reshape the destiny of the entire region. It started slowly. A few travelers arriving by dusty roads, seeking rest beside the Atlantic. Then came the railroad, carving a path through forests and farmland, carrying families eager for the promise of the sea. Suddenly, what was once remote and rugged became reachable and irresistible. By the 1950s, the coastline shimmered with neon signs and pastel motels. This was the golden age of the American road trip, when families packed station wagons and followed highways that seemed to stretch into forever. Virginia Beach became a symbol of freedom, fun, and summertime joy, an escape where memories were made in the glow of boardwalk lights. Yet behind this surge of tourism stood another powerful force, the military. The Naval Air Station at Oceana brought thousands of service members and their families, weaving their stories into the city's identity. Their presence fueled growth, innovation, and a sense of patriotic pride that still pulses across the oceanfront. As roads expanded and airplanes shortened distances, Virginia Beach stepped boldly onto the national stage. The modest fishing villages of the past evolved into a full-fledged resort city, vibrant, ambitious, and constantly reinventing itself. The coastline grew taller, brighter, livelier. And yet, beneath all that change, the old spirit remains, shaped by tides, anchored in history, and forever calling travelers to return. What began as a small coastal outpost has become one of America's top beach escapes, not by accident, but by generations who believed in the magic of this shore and built a destination worthy of its beauty. Just when you think you've uncovered all of Virginia Beach's stories, the coastline opens a secret door. One that leads away from the hotels, away from the boardwalk, and into a wild, untouched world where nature still writes its own laws. To the south lies the mysterious beauty of Back Bay National Wildlife Refuge, a place where the land feels ancient and the silence carries its own heartbeat. Here, Clouds of migratory birds sweep across the sky on journeys older than any human settlement. They follow invisible pathways carved by instinct, pausing in these marshes as they have for thousands of years. Walk a little farther, past the dunes, past the thicket of sea oats, and you reach False Cape, one of the last remaining coastal wildernesses on the Atlantic seaboard. This is a place where wild horses sometimes wander the edges of the beach, their silhouettes moving like ghosts at dawn. Coyotes leave tracks in the sand. Rare plants cling to life in salt-kissed winds. The world feels raw, untouched, alive. But this wild side of Virginia Beach almost vanished. Decades ago, developers saw these dunes and marshlands not as treasures, but as prime real estate. Plans for hotels and highways crept dangerously close to erasing entire ecosystems. It was only through fierce conservation battles, led by biologists, locals, and quiet protectors of the land, that these habitats survived. The dunes you see today are partly reborn, rebuilt through restoration efforts that fight against erosion and storms. The marshes were saved from drainage. The wildlife refuges were expanded, piece by piece, acre by acre, by people who believed that not all beauty should be paved over. Because Virginia Beach is more than boardwalk lights and summer waves. It is a living tapestry of ecosystems, bay, ocean, marsh, dune, forest, woven together by the resilience of nature and the determination of those who refuse to let it disappear. In these wild corners, you glimpse the coastline as the first settlers saw it, as the indigenous peoples knew it, and as nature still dreams it to be. If you want to experience Virginia Beach at its most magical, aim for the late spring and early fall, those golden months when the weather is warm, the water inviting, and the crowds thin enough for you to feel the coastline breathing around you. Sunrise lovers should sneak out early to the quiet stretches north of the boardwalk, where the first light touches the dunes before the city awakens. Parking is easiest just after dawn or in the shoulder seasons, and if you're traveling with family, the central oceanfront keeps you close to food, entertainment, and lifeguards. But if you crave peace, wander south toward Sandbridge or north toward the Chesapeake Bay beaches, where the waves soften, the breeze cools, and the horizon belongs entirely to you. As the sun sinks behind the boardwalk and the lighthouse glow stretches across the sand, remember this: Virginia Beach is more than a vacation spot, it's a living story. A place shaped by winds, waves, wanderers, warriors, and the wild spirit of the Atlantic. If this journey stirred something in you, join me for more Coast Quest adventures as we uncover the hidden histories of America's coastlines. And before you go, share your favorite memory of Virginia Beach in the comments. Every story adds another ripple to this endless sea.